Do you want to be misled and lied to by the media? Why would you watch the media? Don't you think that they're telling the truth to you? Isn't that why you watch the news, to find out what they're reporting? Okay, now let's focus on the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin case, because a lot of people are watching this case and have watched this case, and the media has had dozens of experts on the TV explaining this case to their audience, and that includes their the reporters, Piers, Morgan, and whoever, all of them. Okay, on CNN and HLN and every station talking about George Zimmerman. And Stand Your Ground. Stand Your Ground had absolutely nothing to do with the case at all. There wasn't one word, one argument, nothing about Stand Your Ground throughout this entire trial. So why would the experts keep talking about that when it had nothing at all to do with it? Now let's look at George Zimmerman, who was monitored by the Sanford Police Department. And he made 41 bogus calls before he called about Trayvon Martin. Bogus meaning there was no victims of any crime. There was no victims of a crime by Trayvon Martin. His call, he was suspicious. Are you suspicious when you come back from a store to your own home? Think about it. Are you suspicious? Well, why is he suspicious? He's not suspicious at all. There was no crime. But Zimmerman tells the dispatcher, this guy looks suspicious. Okay? They all look suspicious. And they all get away. The assholes get away, he says. So he's, oh, there he goes. There he goes. And he takes off after Trayvon Martin, right? And provokes a fist fight. A physical fist fight. He provoked it. He went after Trayvon Martin. There's no doubt about that. He said it himself. Okay? So why did the police let him go? And then they let him go, and Sharpton finds out about it. If he wasn't black, nothing would have happened. But because he's black, Sharpton raised the roof. Good for Sharpton. Raised the roof. Okay. Now, he forces the Florida State's attorney into arresting and prosecuting Zimmerman 44 days after the incident on February 26th. That is not making the Florida State's attorney who's prosecuting Zimmerman happy at all, because now they have to cover up their incompetence for letting him loose, okay? When they know for a fact that he just plugged Trayvon Martin in cold blood after he was punched and knocked to the ground. He was allowed to get up by Trayvon Martin, who did not know Zimmerman had a gun, okay? Because he would have taken the gun. I just want you to see that I'm interested in the government, the fraud, the corruption by the courts, okay? And I was a victim of a huge crime, a real crime. Now, if there were 41 times, not if there were 41 times that Zimmerman called about reporting somebody, okay? And so, if there were any victims, why didn't they bring those victims in? Instead of asserting there was all these crimes being committed at the complex. But they bring in one victim, a white lady, who was burglarized by two black guys who were then arrested, having nothing to do with George Zimmerman. He didn't report them, okay? He just went over her house and brought her a lock for her back door. That's all. So let's just keep the facts in perspective. Now, what's Zimmerman about? Why does he keep making up these phony calls, which happen to be illegal? They're criminal, okay? Why doesn't the police department that's monitoring Zimmerman finally wake up to the fact, wait a minute, how come you keep calling here and there's no victims about any of your calls? We don't want that. We're not going to send squad cars out to your complex every time you have some crazy paranoid idea that somebody's committing a crime that isn't even occurring. Okay? So what's that all about? Why is Zimmerman even doing that? Is there a reason? Or is he just nuts? Well, we know he wants to be a cop. He applied. Why don't they have that witness? Why was Zimmerman turned down? There has to be a reason, right? We don't know, right? And then Zimmerman goes to school to take criminal justice courses to be a cop. And then guess what? Zimmerman gets rides in squad cars. I don't know anybody. Gee, I want to be a cop. I want to get rides in squad cars. I want to be the neighborhood watch. They'll hire me as a cop, right? Because I'm going to keep calling in 41 times about some kind of a crime that never occurred, and there's never a victim of any one of those crimes. So what's happening here? And what else is George Zimmerman? Oh, he's a big buddy of the marshal, some marshal who wrote the book about George Zimmerman, right? He wants to capitalize on George Zimmerman. His friendship, he says he was his best friend, this marshal. Okay. So George Zimmerman is this sweet, nice, good Samaritan who's trying to help everybody at the complex. He's trying to get a job is what he's trying to do, okay? Period. Is he a racist? There's no indication that he's a racist. At all. Not even any. I mean, if he called 41 times and reported black people each time, that would definitely hone in on being a racist. But we don't know that. I mean, they know that. They have the dispatcher. It's all recorded, okay? So they would know. Oh, there's another black guy, 41 times, black guys committing crimes here. Well, Trayvon wasn't committing any crime. We know that for a fact. He just returned from the store. Period. So what's that? I mean, the guy's off his rocker. He actually believes he can get a job by doing stuff like this. Taking rides in the squad car, going to school, going to the gym. The gym guy, the instructor, the martial artist expert, said Zimmerman was totally useless after an entire year. He had no skill at all. He didn't learn anything. He was incapable. Okay. So, here we go. Let's ignore all of that. And we'll just talk about stand your ground, having nothing at all to do with this case. And then we have the jurors saying, well, they were boxed in. They couldn't acquit him. I mean, they couldn't convict him. Okay, because of the instructions by this judge. What's that all about? She's protecting law enforcement. She's part of it, law enforcement, okay? So that's all this case is about. They're pissed off because Sharpton forced them into arresting Zimmerman, who they released. And it was so simple that the case is about total incompetence, and that's all I know about from what I saw, in total incompetence by this police department and now by the prosecutors. And the judge is a complete fake out, phony, writing instructions. I mean, compare those instructions to any other instructions she ever wrote, to every jury that went before her. And I guarantee you these instructions are completely unique, and I read them, okay? So, this case is a complete farce, and there's a way to get justice right now, and that is, we know that Zimmerman lied over and over again. He made false reports to the police department over and over and over again, okay, including Trayvon Martin. So there you go. There's a criminal charge. You can't just run around the neighborhood accusing nobody, literally nobody, of committing a crime. Those are false reports. That's illegal. That's a crime. Arrest Zimmerman for that crime. Now we know he's also nuts because he actually does it because he thinks he's going to get a job. Okay? So, there you go. can you commit a person who just makes these crazy calls? You can when he shoots somebody, because he's dangerous. Okay? Commit him. And then that's the end of George Zimmerman, and then we would have justice. Does anybody not want justice? I mean, are you ignorant to not want justice? So why wouldn't you want justice? Okay? It doesn't make any sense, does it? Why do you want to be lied to by the media? Why do you want experts who don't even know what's going on at all, and all they're talking about is stand your ground, which had absolutely nothing to do with this case? Nothing. Because there had to be a hearing. In order to use stand your ground, then you have to have a hearing. And Zimmerman refused to have that hearing because there was no stand your ground at all. Even no matter whether this law is good or bad, he went after Trayvon. So how does he stand your ground? Okay, if he had stayed in his vehicle and then the fight started there, yeah, then he could say, I was standing my ground. Okay, I had to protect myself from Trayvon, who attacked me at my vehicle. But Trayvon's trying to get away from him. Okay, we know that. Because he said it. There he goes. There he goes, okay? Well, there he goes. And he goes after him. And he starts the fight. And Trayvon knocks him down. That's for sure. We know that for sure. Okay? So he didn't have to let him up. But he did. He let him up and he didn't know he had a gun. Because he would have taken that gun. He was in full control of Zimmerman. But he didn't take the gun. So when George Zimmerman got up to his feet, on his feet, looking dead and straight at Trayvon Martin, he pointed that gun right at his chest, perpendicular, and fired it. Bang! Right in his heart, okay? And murdered him, first degree. That's pretty dangerous, don't you think? Of course it is. So you see? This idea that he was on his back, shooting upwards and hitting Trayvon Martin right in the heart on a perpendicular angle is ridiculous. You see? So it would be nice to actually understand evidence and get an expert that could explain evidence on television, so the media can inform people on what really happened, on not some crazy nonsense about being a racist or being a good Samaritan or whatever, standing your ground. Okay? Jesus. I mean, there's no end to this. See, and this is the perfect case that absolutely proves that this is what happens every single day of the week in the United States of America. So if the people here really want to be totally lied to and misled, this is kind of a nutty thing to want to do. If you don't want justice, that's a ridiculous... Go to North Korea, because there is no justice in North Korea. None. Okay? And here, it's all a hypocrisy. The big justice deal. Okay? Just a bunch of hypocrites. With the media covering that up, misleading everybody. Think about it. Please, let's wake up here, okay? Let's start a new slate and let's get some justice. How about that? Let's start with this Zimmerman-Trayvon Martin case. Thank you.